Good evening. It's a sellout crowd here at the Athlone Institute of Technology for the 7th edition of what's being celebrated as one of Ireland's most successful track and field events. An electric atmosphere has been promised, and there are plenty of battles to whet the appetite. You join us on Vinco around the world and on Runner Space in North America. It's a beautiful little venue here in Athlone in Central Ireland. A couple of hours bus ride west of Dublin. Other modes of transport are available. We start here with the men's 60 metres, of which we'll have 2 heats. So the camera a moment ago showing Jeremy Phillips, and we look here at Joseph Ojiwumi, Dublin City University graduate. This is Jan Valeba of the Czech Republic, 5 times competitor at the European Championships, the 33-year-old. This is Junior Perez, an Olympian in 2008. Andy Robertson, the familiar face, the Sail Harrier, alongside him. 6:62 to win in Vienna this month, putting him as high early in the year on the GB 2020 list behind CJ Uja and Richard Kilty. And Sergio Lopez alongside him, the Spaniard, 6:69 his best. And Keith Pike, the Irishman. Ojiwumi, 6:77 at best. Now before the programme got underway, we did see heats of the women's 60 metres, and they were won by Asher Phillip and Joan Healy, the Irish woman, respectively. So Jeremy Phillips, Joseph Ojiwumi, Jan Valeba, Junior Perez, Andy Robertson, Sergio Lopez and Keith Pike. Valeba going really well. Robertson now trying to chase him down between these two. Looked like Valeba just eased up over the line and took that victory in this first heat. 6:70. 6:65 is the lifetime best from 2011 for the Czech. So a lively start. You can see actually no Perez, it looked like in lane 5 there, if I'm not mistaken. Good battling there from Andy Robertson, though. Such a ferocious starter, and a great 60 competitor. 6:54 at best. Well, that just gets the action started at a pretty mild temperature, but hopefully things will heat up later. Athlone, well known for its medieval castle and battlements, but you wonder who'll be the rivals tonight. We've got Martin Rooney, Elliot Giles, Guy Learmonth, Mark English and co in the 600 metres. And for Martin Rooney, that is his first indoor race beyond 60. Someone who very rarely does indoors, and actually we were talking to us earlier, saying he almost banishes the 60 to beyond the back of his brain and considers this a proper indoor debut, suggesting on Instagram earlier that lane 1 would be particularly tricky. No surprise there, but a bit of a learning curve potentially. Guy Learmonth and Rooney have battled each other before, of course. Learmonth more of the 800 metre master, and Rooney more of the 4. But I suppose, given how tall Rooney is, perhaps a little bit easier. I think that's part of the decision to run a 600 metre race rather than a 4. And the tight bends on this track. Also telling us that he has Irish family too. His father is in fact from County Westmeath, the county that we're in today. But after all that, what about Samuel Tefera, the world indoor record holder over 1,500 metres, set in Birmingham last year, going for a mile record. Perhaps it's held by Yomif Kajelcha from last year in Boston, 3:47.01. We'll wait and see how things pan out. What about the strength and depth of Irish talent in the women's sprints as well? All of their quartet who hold the 4x1 record are here, and they're all incredibly young as well. So this is the lineup then for heat number 2 of the men's 60 metres, featuring Oji Edeburen and Theo Etienne as well, another fabulous 60-metre performer, and someone who's getting back to some of his best form, Carl Descafé, the Birchfield Harrier. So perhaps those 3 in particular will be ones to watch out for in the middle lanes. There is Theo Etienne with the headbands. European indoor finalist in 2017. The season's best this year, 6:63, is in fact his fastest since that great year, now 3 years ago, when he was British indoor silver medalist and European final, as I mentioned. 6:56, that overall PB. Oji Edeburen, the British champion last year, and that was a really important statement of a race for him in Birmingham. I seem to remember it was in 2015 where he came 3rd at the British Outdoor Championships and really started to establish himself. And here is Carl Descafé, Midlands champion. 6:72 in Ostrava. 6:59 is his PB, so closely matched as ever over 60 metres. You wouldn't expect much less. So let's take a look at the full lineup then for heat number 2. Michael Olsen there standing with the headband in lane 1. Here he is, a Scottish champion outdoors over 100 metres and part of the British quartet of the European Under-23 Championships. Looks like no Brandon Mingeli, which is unfortunate in lane 2 because he's been pretty impressive this year, the 19-year-old. New lifetime best of 6:73, and I was going to tell you that Mingeli was just 3 years old when Yzaldas Nascimento alongside him competed at the Olympics in 2004. Then Theo Etienne, who we've talked about, and Oji Edeburen alongside him. Focus. Oji staring down a short 60-metre track. Dowie Hammond in the Welsh Athletics vest there. First indoor season in 5 years has brought the Welshman a season's best of 6:81, and Leo Morgan, the Clonliffe Harrier, on the outside. Olsen, Nascimento, Descafé, Edeburen, Etienne, Hammond and Morgan in this 60-metre heat. Good getaway from Descafé. Oh, Edeburen pulls up, unfortunately, but here comes Etienne. Unfortunately, the clock has a similar sort of start to Edeburen. It's showing 0-0 on the clock. But that was a good battle there, and Theo Etienne coming through towards the end of the race as someone that's synonymous with making fast starts. Had reasonably good form throughout. But what happened there with Oji Edeburen? And are they indeed being called back? I'm very interested to see what the officials decide here. A bit of a shake of the head from Michael Olsen in the previous shot. Well, you're watching live coverage here on runjumpthrow.com and at Runnerspace in North America. Feel free to get involved on social media. Hashtag AIT Grand Prix. Athlone Institute of Technology. Well, Leo Morgan's found himself a a comfortable spot, you know, but I do often wonder how comfortable that is. A lack of other seating arrangements, or convenient other seating arrangements, of course, available at that time. Although those officials might well have some comfy chairs, and perhaps that's deliberately why they've decided to hide those chairs from view, because they don't want the athletes to see that they've got something more comfortable to sit on. I'm always prepared. I always bring a cushion with me when I can. The only problem is you don't want to leave a cushion at an athletics venue that you might not come back to immediately. Nascimento, the coolest guy in the house. Hands on hips from Descafé. So we're going to restart this race, perhaps the most appropriate term. There is Yazaldez Nascimento, 33-year-old. Lifetime best is 6:67 from 2015. European finalist in 2014, a decade after that Olympic bow in Athens. Let's take another look at what happened. Well, not the cleanest getaway from Edebouren. Well, this gives us a chance actually for me to give you an idea of what's to come. The men's high jump featuring Great Britain's Chris Baker. The next event that we'll be able to show some action on the field for you. And women's 800 metres a little later, men's 600 metres. We'll follow that, and you can follow those start lists and the timetable at live.athleticsisland.ie. So Michael Olsen, Nascimento, Descafé, Edebouren, Etienne, Hammond and Morgan once again. Decent getaway this time from Edebouren. He's got a bit of work to do. Etienne further back this time. Edebouren gets it 6:68 as well. Well, he'll be much, much happier with the outcome. Suddenly, things have changed a little bit from that initial race, shall we say. The British champion, Edebouren. So he comes into every competition with that kind of mettle now. We know it's always going to be close over 60 metres, but actually, it was reasonably comfortable as far as 60s go. Bit of frustration from Theo Etienne, understandably, because he'd, I suppose, really put on the afterburners to win the first go. Curious. Well, we will have a 60-metre final coming up a little later on, and it is scheduled to take place at 5 to 9 UK time. 9:05, which is when the women's 60-metre final will come up, and then the evening will conclude with the men's mile at 9:15. Well, the next event on track here in Athlone will be the women's 800 metres, and they're just gathering towards the start line. Mari Smith, I've seen warming up in the background as I went to get a sandwich or half a sandwich for dinner. Mari Smith was going through the final phases of her warm-up routine. How the other half live. But Smith, who was a European indoor finalist, an absolutely fantastic race at the Muller Indoor Grand Prix in Birmingham when she needed to get the standard. There she is on the right-hand side. Eloisa Coiro of Italy. 2 minutes 5.4 her best. There's Ellie Baker as well, European under-23 silver medalist behind Gemma Reekie, who is becoming more and more of a name on everybody's lips, but so many to talk about here, of course. Ankovic, mainly a 400-metre hurdler and Olympic semi-finalist. Haven't even mentioned Adele Tracy yet. She set a new indoor best behind Reekie's national record-breaking 1:57 run, and indeed behind Laura Muir as well. But so that perhaps slipped outside of the headlines. 2 minutes 23 for Adele Tracy. So a shot looking back at the crowd that's now packed in here in Athlone ahead of the women's 800 metres. I'll just take you through the full lineup. Ankovic, Nadia Power, one of Ireland's most improved athletes last year and a bronze medalist, behind Reekie and Baker at the European Under-23s. Ellie Baker, Mari Smith, Eloisa Coiro, Claire Mooney of Ireland, her teammate Ellie Hartnett, Adele Tracy, Liga Valverde of Latvia, and Aneta Lemiesh of Poland. So Adele Tracy looking cool and composed in an early lead behind the pacemaker. Mari Smith a little way back at this stage, but a real opportunity for Adele Tracy to test herself against some good athletes. Looks like Valverde in behind her, the Latvian, and then Ellie Baker. And now a bit of a gap opening up. Ankovic and Smith trying to do something about that gap. Nadia Power going with her. But a clear leading trio at this stage. Adele Tracy now the leader and starting to grit her teeth and moving up the gears as they hit the bell. Around 1:29.9 on the clock. Adele Tracy pushing on now. Valverde and Baker pretty much line astern, and Mari Smith doing a great job trying to catch. Nadia Power is in 5th place. But the crowd absolutely roaring here. Ankovic is on the inside of the track, but never mind as Adele Tracy comes through. Look at Mari Smith in behind. Adele Tracy just tiring, but a fabulous performance. 2:01.73 on the clock. Good finish by Mari Smith in the background. Behind all that, there was a big job on there for her to catch up. After those three had opened up quite a margin. A good test, well passed there for Adele Tracy, and following up that 2 minutes flat quite nicely. 2:01.73. Having another look here, there were times when we wondered whether Adele Tracy was tiring, but it was her pushing herself to the maximum, and Valverde couldn't quite respond. So Adele Tracy with hopes of qualifying for the Olympic Games, but British women's middle distance running has some stacked fields. And what about the rising talent of Gemma Reekie as well? And what will Laura Muir decide to prioritise? Of course, we have the European Championships after the Olympic Games as well, and no World Indoor Championships. So in that sense, we hope to see reasonable participation indoors, particularly at the British indoors, but at meets like this, it seems that athletes are happy to try and gain form. Dale Tracy just speaking to David Gillett inside the stadium and saying how excited she is for the year ahead and feeling in good shape, and seems to show as the men gear up on track for a mouth-watering 600-metre battle. I hope you're ready for this. And well, just what kind of records could be at stake? Well, here in 2017, Kyle Langford ran 1:16.1, and at altitude in February 2019, Thomas Staines 1:15.3. So I wonder how close the Brits can get to Kyle Langford's time. The overall, the outdoor British record for 600 metres, of course not an official record distance, is 1:14.95 from Steve Hurd in 1991. What about the Irish national record, here you ask? We've got Mark English in this. Well, outdoors he's run 1:15.71, and we believe the Irish indoor national record is held by Zach Curran, 1:17.52 from 2016. Well, this could be an almighty battle, and certainly a few people getting excited on Twitter. Elliot Giles tweeting at Matt Hudson-Smith asking why he's not involved. So I hope you're enjoying here the coverage on runjumpthrow.com. Of course, just getting started here, but this is one of the most hotly anticipated battles of the evening. We've got Elliot Giles, European bronze medalist in 2016 over 800 metres. Guy Learmonth, who started the year in Glasgow. There he is, in fact, you may be able to spot, just jogging backwards with a start of the year, as I was saying, with a Scottish Indoor Championship record, and then went on to run 1:47.9 following that Scottish Indoor CR of 1:48.7. And let's not forget, he's raced Martin Rooney over 500 metres in the Great North City Games, and I remember that was highly celebrated at a time as two guys happily trying to put a rivalry together and build some excitement. And of course, you look along that list, Zach Curran predominantly an 800 metre runner as well. Christian von Eitzen, European Under-20 semi-finalist in 2015. I remember him racing for St Mary's universities at the British universities. But Martin Rooney, his first ever indoor race beyond 600 metres, and he considers this really to be his proper indoor debut, even suggesting that he asked his coach whether he could do his 60 metres instead of a real hard slog in training at times. But you'll know he'll give it plenty. Fantastic colours worn here by Dye Green as well. World, European and Commonwealth champion. There is von Eitzen, Zach Curran, and his Ireland international teammate Mark English. Now graduated as a medical student for many years, so becoming a full-time athlete, hoping to make Tokyo 2020. The man from Letterkenny. One to really get excited about. English, Curran, von Eitzen, Giles, Green, Borkowski, Learmonth and Rooney. Haven't mentioned Mateusz Borkowski, the tall Polish athlete there in the orange. 1:18.36 his best. But he's the 2019 European Under-23 800-metre champion. So 3 laps of this 200-metre track. 600 metres. First time I've commentated on a 600 metres. First time Martin Rooney has race 1 and indoors over 60 on this oval. And he was suggesting that the inside line might be quite tricky, so he's gone for the outside. Dye Green there in the centre. Elliot Giles just getting a bit of a bump and a barge, but he stays on his feet. Green from Rooney wants to be at the centre of the action. His dad, in fact, from the County Westmeath in Ireland. His mum from Sligo, further north. And Learmonth gets a bit of a bump there. So this is turning out to be quite some race. Curran now hitting the front from Green. And look at von Eitzen, one of the outsiders perhaps, coming through there on the inside. Learmonth looking like he's got pace to burn. Von Eitzen not giving the others much space to push from behind. Borkowski loves a fast finish, really likes to unwind down the home straight like he did in Gävle to win the European Under-23 title last year. Is Zach Curran beginning to fade? Looks so. Learmonth on the outside now. Here comes Borkowski. 1:17.41. It's a new lifetime best, but I suspect that's the case for a few in this field. A casual wave from Mateusz Borkowski. And I'm not sure if he's quite broken sweat there because of the shortage of the extra 200 metres that he's used to. In comparison, Martin Rooney, a bit of a baptism of fire and an extra 200 metres compared to what he's used to. And that was an interesting experience. But in the end, pretty comfortable from Borkowski, and scenes of what he did in Sweden last summer in red and white. You may be one of the names which you're less familiar with as well, in which case he's taken quite a few scalps. So let's have another look at this point. Borkowski is at the back. Learmonth stays on his feet. It's like a sort of domino effect, isn't it, there with Borkowski as well, battling. But in the end, I think you'll have to say his doctor will be happy. Barely breaking sweat, merely perspiring for Mateusz. Really strong finish there from von Eitzen, you'd have to say as well, because albeit having not really run 600 metres in the past, his best was 1:32 coming into this, and he's a 1:46 800 metre man. But he was the one who executed pretty well compared to what you might have expected on the night. so confirmation of that result. And you can see Zach Curran in behind in second place, 1:17.66, so not quite as fast as his best. And Guy Learmonth in the end did take third place ahead of Von Aertsen. A little earlier on we had some under 13 relays that we're just seeing a montage of here. But that really was an intriguing battle in the 600 metres. Beauty shot looking around the stadium here in Athlone. And the next event on track will be the men's 400 metres. Well, just looking on Twitter, it's the hashtag AIT Grand Prix. Desi Dolan says, wow, seriously talented athletes. Great event for Athlone as well, the town, and congratulations to the college on hosting a brilliant night. Well, it's one of these events that's been around for a few years, 7 years in fact now, and it's continuing to grow and build in stature, and glad that we can bring you coverage for the second year in a row. A sellout crowd here as well. They're kind of tucked in towards the left of shot, underneath the balcony on the left-hand side, which I'm indeed sat on as well. Kevin Egan says, every year the AIT Grand Prix is one of my favourite sporting events to cover, and this year they've kicked things up another notch. Angus Dempsey says, watching top-class international athletes attempt to set new records while sitting eating chocolate feels just wrong. Well, I suppose if you're comfortable, you've got your chocolate, then it's the best of both worlds. But it really is refreshing to see packed-out crowds waiting and queuing to get in to come and see track and field. And a great venue here, as I mentioned, a couple of hours to the west of Dublin, County Westmeath in the centre of the Republic of Ireland. Well, we're just going to take a short break until the 400 metres is ready to get underway. It's expected to get underway at 8:15, in fact, so we'll rejoin in a couple of minutes' time. We're watching live coverage here from the Athlone Institute of Technology on runjumpthrow.com, and Runner Space in North America. Pictures provided by our host broadcaster. And we're waiting for the men's high jump to get underway. It features Great Britain's Chris Baker. Here's Ireland's David Cusson. The bar is at 2 meters and this is his first attempt. So Cusson shaping up and getting the competition underway nicely. Cusson, the 23-year-old, who's cleared 2 meters and 5 this year, his season's best. And that's pretty close to his indoor PB of 2 meters and 6. So perhaps it could be a good evening, as a lot of the Irish athletes hope it will be a great international stage on which they can really thrive, particularly in the comfort of an arena which they're used to. You may have been with us in Sweden last night for the Setra Indoor Grand Prix, and that's so much the case for the Swedish Grand Prix series. May even be Mondo Duplantis or Daniel Stahl or Angelica Bengtsson, the pole vaulters there, but some of the Swedes, it's a real opportunity to have some of their best competitions because of the calibre of the other athletes involved. And that's why we saw Mateusz Bukowski getting an award of sorts from the president of Athletics Ireland, and I'm sure she will be very pleased that this event is growing in stature and Irish track and field is taking centre stage. So now getting ready for the men's 400 metre. You can see the athletes just beginning to line up on track. This one features Pavel Maslach, 3 times world and 3 times European indoor champion, 29 next week, 45.24 his best. Perhaps the standout name in this field, or the favourite you might think, but Thomas Barr will be the home crowd's favourite. Talking about this competition, he said he doesn't know if he's ever been to an event where the crowd is so close, and he really thrives off that support. The man who was one of the great stories of the Olympics when he broke the Irish national record twice to make the final. Here's Adam Haig then in the pole vault. Just looking to see, the bar is at 5:45 and this is his first go. Adam Haig's opened up his season pretty well. Lifetime best of 5:65. He's managed 5:60 already in Sheffield and matched that in France this month. This is at Dove Amels. The Dutch athletes competed for them at the World Championships in Doha without making the final. His first attempt at 2 meters and 5 now, which the bar has moved up to. So as Thomas Barr was saying, the crowd really do get pretty close, and as you often see, there's some of the young athletes that were part of the pre-programme and now they get ringside seats. The full lineup then, you can see Andrew Mellon on the inside, Northern Irish champion, participated at the Scottish Indoor Championships where he was 3rd. And we start the close-ups on the outside here with Pavel Maslach. 44.79 outdoors, his best. Then Thomas Barr, who gets a great reception. Lifetime best in the flat here in 2017, 46.89. This is Tony van Diepen, the 23-year-old. Dutch indoor national record, 46.13. Jashinsky of Poland. Won a bronze medal in the relay at the University Games. From Plenderleith, well, that's not Graham Plenderleith, that's Andrew Mellon. This is Plenderleith, the Scottish champion. 46.34 his best, the former footballer. So this 400-metre final from the inside, Plenderleith, Mellon, Dashinsky, Van Diepen, Barr and Maslach on the outside. The crowd now watching all the way around, and athletes warming up on the balcony, but centre stage, the men's 400 metres. Well, last night in Sweden we watched as Moa Hjelmer held on to win the 400 metres in fantastic style, and she was absolutely elated by the support of the home crowd. Will it be a similar story for Thomas Barr here? He's being challenged by Van Diepen, with Maslach huffing and puffing on the outside. Fantastic camera work here by the Irish team. Maslach, you may be able to hear the thudding down the back straight as well. Barr, those steely focused eyes on those in front. Bit of a gap opening up between the front three and the Scot, Plenderleith. Here comes Maslach, real battle now with Van Diepen. Van Diepen trying to close and overhaul Pavel Maslach. Bit of a scalp taken there. 46.20. Less than a tenth of a second off his Dutch national record too. The European indoor bronze medalist behind Carsten Warholm and Oscar Husillos of Spain. Really great race and fantastic execution of the last 100 metres in particular from 23-year-old Tony Van Diepen. Well, that national record was set at the European indoors in Glasgow. There were national records for the top three, but Van Diepen straining to come through. I think he knew he had the beating of Maslach at this point. A resigned look on the face of the Czech, who's beaten here by Van Diepen. I don't think it was unfair to say that Maslach was perhaps the favourite in this race, but in this case he's been beaten. Good run by the hurdler Thomas Barr as well. Give you full confirmation of that result in a moment's time. The bar's now up to 2 metres and 10 in the high jump, by the way, as Maslach is well placed to sign autographs. It's just the convenient juxtaposition of the height of the kids next to the raised indoor track here. Well, who's he going to give his bib to? That's a tricky one. Well, that man has stolen a march. And he'll go home happy tonight. Tony Van Diepen there talking to David Gillick, track side. Confirmation of the result then. And a 10th ahead of Maslach. Thomas Barr did get 3rd place, and there was a bit of a gap back there that was maintained. Dushinsky and Mellon behind Van der Leeth. Well, if you missed it a little earlier on, Mateusz Bukowski, the European under-23 champion, and the Polish athlete beat a star-studded field, including Guy Learmonth and Martin Rooney in the 600. Back to the high jump with the bar at 2 meters and 10. So Cusson going for an indoor lifetime best, outdoor PB 2:13. So the Irishman really benefiting from the home crowd, and that wasn't too far away. He'll have one more go, Cusson. Over to the pole vault, where the bar's at 5:45. And this is Thomas Wexton, the Finn, 3 times Finnish outdoor champion, including current title holder. 5:55 he's best, so again not too far away, and a fabulous clearance at the second go for the Finn. And in typical Finnish reserve style, he's pleased but not too happy. More to come. Looked like it was his Finnish teammate Tommy Hultonen having a go before that, just as the end of that interview between David Gillick and his compatriot Thomas Barr. So Hultonen having to be patient and then going clear, and then, well, he did allow himself a fair share of delight on the way down. Next on the track is the women's 200 metres, and an exciting one. Charlotte Wingfield, who's competed at all of the major international championships for Malta in this one. Phil Healy as well, Irish national record holder. On the outside, 23:28, her indoor PB. 23:17 is the Irish national record indoors. This is Jessica Bianca Vesely, the German, second at the University Games last year. 23:33, her indoor best. Nicola Bendova from the Czech Republic, 23:99. That's the fastest she's ever run indoors in Prague this month, in fact. Charlotte Wingfield, who also saw over 60 metres tonight. 24:1 her PB. And Mary Abici, 24:4, her best indoor 200 metres, but she's only run around 5 200 metre times in the last 5 years. so it could be a real opportunity for her. Another who we saw over 60 metres just before the official programme began here in Ireland. So Phil Healy will hope to make a big impression. Irish record holder, 100, 200 and the 4x100 metre relay. She was 6th in that University Games final. Vesely took the silver medal. From the inside, Beachy, Wingfield, Bendiver, Vesely and Healy. One lap of the track, a determined Charlotte Wingfield gets out pretty nicely with a Beachy just there on her inside. And now once again the great shot working back as the athletes work their way forwards and into this top bend, and Phil Healy is really going for it here, and the crowd are now responding to that. Vesely on her inside. Here comes Phil Healy, all about Healy against the clock. It's 23:11. It's a new Irish indoor record. It was held by Ciara Sheehy from 2003, who represented her country at the Sydney Olympics in 2000. And Phil Healy has hopes of going to Tokyo this year. What a fantastic run on the outside, making an impression, closest to the crowd as well. And as predicted, she is next in line to sign autographs and give away her bib. So a 17-year-old Irish indoor record has been broken tonight. Best part of 2/10 of the lifetime best of Phil Healy as well indoors. 22:99 outdoors, her best time, the overall Irish record. But just look at the determination on her face. No one was getting near Phil Healy tonight. It looks like story time with Phil Healy there for a moment. And it really is a thrill getting an autograph from someone to look up to. And another Irish record added to her list, officially given as 23:10. The 25-year-old, just one of a fabulous generation of young Irish sprinters. Absolute delight there from Phil Healy, setting that Irish indoor 200-metre record. Perhaps that was her target tonight. There are others going potentially for the 60-metre record as well, 7:27. We'll see how they get on a little later, just after 9 o'clock here in Athlone. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. on runjumpthrow.com. Runner space in North America as we look here around the stadium. And we have a high jump and pole vault going on. The bar in the pole vault up to 5 meters and 45. But get in touch with your reaction to whatever you've seen tonight, that great performance from Phil Healy. Hashtag AIT Grand Prix on Twitter. Kevin Egan says sensational stuff from Phil Healy. Blows the field away. Incredible. So the next event on track will be the women's 3,000 metres, and it will feature Rosie Clark in the flat as well. Something we don't often see. Rosie Clark, who's the change coach for this year, now under the tutelage of Rob Denmark. But what about Kieran McGeehan, who was absolutely over the moon to make the World Championships final in Doha last year, and her interviews with Irish television were, I think, one of the highlights, some of the best interviews of those championships, when she said, "Jesus, I'm ecstatic, lads," after making the final, in which she finished 10th. And I tell you what, she could go for an Irish indoor record as well. Her lifetime best is 8:55, and the record is 8:43.74, which has been held by Mary Cullen since 2009. Also in the race, Camille Buscombe from New Zealand, a World University Games medalist in the past. Absolutely explosive young Irish talent, Sarah Healy, yet another Healy, double gold medalist at the European Under-18 Championships in Hungary a couple of years ago now, or 18 months ago, over both 1,500 and 3,000, and then followed that up at the European Under-20s in Borås in Sweden, where she was second behind Switzerland's Delia Sklavas, herself a great talent. Just 18 years of old, 18 years of age, Sarah Healy. Amy O'Donoghue also featured, someone who set a great lifetime best at the British Milers Club Grand Prix in Eltham last year, in a great battle with Amelia Quirk and the now retired Hannah England for 16, and I believe this is her 3,000 metre debut as well. Bit of a baptism of fire for Martin Rooney. Interesting to hear his thoughts, it will be, after that. His first indoor race beyond 60 metres. Well, there were some exciting records last night in Sweden. Competition started off with the shot put, in which there was an Italian indoor record that, if my memory serves me correctly, had been held since 1984 by Alessandro Andre, who outdoors has the third furthest throw ever. Leonardo Fabri doing a sensational job at 21 meters 59 in Sätra in Stockholm last night, and you can watch highlights of that Grand Prix. Streams to come, of course, after this. On our website you can watch the British Universities Championships, which will be coming through on our website, and then we will be at the England Athletics Age Group Championships. That's under 20, under 17 and under 15, and that is not this coming weekend, but the one after, 22nd and 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. And that's such a brilliant place to see the next generation come through as well. And if you're a big track and field fan like I am, there's nothing better than having seen someone at their first big breakthrough moment. So we're just waiting for this women's 3,000 metres to get going. Already seen the 800 that was won by Adele Tracy. 2 minutes and 1 for her, following up that new indoor best behind Gemma Reekie and Laura Muir recently in Glasgow. I have to say we're all a bit jealous of that at Vinco, because we had been in Glasgow for the Scottish Indoor Championships a week before and had caught things, including Guy Learmont's championship record there, but different calibre to Gemma Reekie's time. So this is the full lineup for the 3,000 metres. You can see Great Britain's Rosie Clark is there, also the Brighton Phoenix athlete Beth Kidger, a number of talented Irish women led chiefly by Ciara Mageean. Such energy I mentioned that featured in her interviews. It looks like Ellie Baker's lining up here as well, a surprise inclusion. I wonder indeed whether she is the pacemaker or is elected to double up, having done the 800 metres just over half an hour ago. Here though is Rosie Clark, a lifetime best from Madrid in 2018 of 8:47.3. Sarah Healy, brilliant young talent, double gold at the European Under-18 Championships. Mageean, a great race for her here last year in Athlone, alongside Rosie Clark. So the race gets underway. 3,000 metres, looks indeed like Ellie Baker is pace-making this race. And Mageean also there. The check of the watch confirms it indeed. So Mageean just slotting in behind for the time being. Rosie Clark is there too. And we expect some of the real quality at the sharp end of this field to come from them. That Irish indoor record, 8:43, so it require 11.3 personal best, 11.3 second personal best for Mageean. Rosie Clark, 8:47, so pretty handy over the flat, as well as over those high steeplechase hurdles. So good shift here from Ellie Baker tonight, who did well in the 800 metres, but I think she finished in third place in the end. It was very tight between her and Mari Smith on the line. So a bit of a gap now opening up between Mageean and Clark and the teenager Healy. Looks like Eloise Walker is in that second group. Someone who's represented Great Britain at the World Cross Country Championships and also at the European Under-20s last year. So a bit of an international breakthrough for her. But it's the top two senior talents really that are taking this one on and doing the hard work along with those pacemakers. Great Britain's Ellie Baker, and the crowd right along the edge, the outside of the track here. So they cross the line now, having completed 5 laps of the race. So around 3 minutes on the clock there. 9.5 laps to go now. So McGeehan looking very focused at this point. Would need to pick up the pace just a little bit. She's really going to go for that Irish indoor record, but Rosie Clark looking comfortable in behind as well. So you can see Healy is there, along with Kidger and Eloise Walker, the Scottish athlete, in that second group of 3. That's effectively in no man's land, or no woman's land. So they cross the line there with 8 laps to go. Kieran McGeehan used to performing well in this arena. Back to the high jump, and Kobielski, third attempt at 2 meters and 20. Oh, so nearly there. And a sigh of regret from the man in unmissable fluorescent yellow. Well, Rosie Clark very, very close to the back of McGeehan, perhaps closer than she's been for the last couple of laps. And McGeehan now leading this one outright. No pacemakers to help. And next time they come through, we'll get an idea of the 2 kilometre split. But these two neck and neck, and building that lead all the time. And Beth Kidger, I can tell you, let's see if she just comes into shot now. Wow, look at how that lead has grown. Has gone into 3rd place, the Brighton Phoenix athlete. So around 5:56 on the clock. So just what can they manage in this last kilometre as McGeehan begins to grit her teeth and refocus on the battle at hand, and Rosie Clark just sticking to her like glue at the moment, just a hair's width between them. McGeehan's hair almost hitting Rosie Clark in the face as she almost looks for space on the inside, but the door is firmly shut for the moment. Will Clark choose to kick on? Here is Holton in the Finn in the pole vault at 5:60, doesn't execute at the 2nd attempt as he goes for a lifetime best. So slight adjustment, and he'll have one more go. One of the best battles of the night, perhaps this is proving to be. This time maybe there is a bit of space for Rosie Clark, but she's just content to sit in there for the moment. McGeehan now trying to kick on. Less than 3 laps to go. Down the back straight, now applauding this crowd, beginning to put a lap on athletes in front. This is Thomas Carmoy, the Belgian we look at in the high jump. First attempt at 2:23. Another one that is fairly close as he goes for an indoor PB, but now with 2 laps to go, and it's a case of deja vu out here. And if anything, McGeehan just Doesn't quite have to hug that inside line, but a slight interruption to the rhythm. Doesn't look too bothered, you'd have to say, Kieran McGeehan. She'll come through and hit the bell now, and just look at how the crowd has their shoulders on the edge of this track here in Athlone. A beautiful venue at the Institute of Technology, and Rosie Clark almost illuminated by the bright red flashing of the clock as they hit that bell, and now hammering down the back straight. McGeehan overtaking Healy, who was in third place at one point. McGeehan is giving everything for this, and Rosie Clark can't quite respond at this stage. What does she have left in the final 50 metres or so? And almost in awe is Rosie Clark of the fantastic Kieran McGeehan. Sensational stuff. 8:48. 28 in the end, and that was a real game of poker face. You felt as though McGeehan could held on, but just what did Rosie Clark have up her sleeve? In the end, McGeehan comes away with a lifetime best by almost 7 seconds, as well as she just catches her breath. An absolutely exhausted Kieran McGeehan. But a good start to the year nonetheless for Rosie Clark. As I say, missed out on funding for this year, now under a new setup. So having a go here over 3,000 metres and beating the natural flat middle distance runner. Nearly. In the end though, it was McGeehan who just had that final gear to reach at the last. McGeehan, a wonderful performance to make that World Championships final. Dawie Almers, the Dutch high jumper, couldn't quite make the final in Doha, but doing a good job here. This is now his first attempt at 2:23. European Under-23 champion back in 2013. Just leaning across there. 2:26 is his indoor best. 2:28 outdoors. More and more now waiting for autographs. They've realised that those huddling earlier had a decent success rate. But I think that just shows you how keen the athletes are to respond to the support from this crowd, and they recognise how close they're getting and how loud they're getting. And Kieran McGeehan, this fabulous finish. Can't hurt to watch this one more time. Such a popular figure in Irish track and field, as are the likes of Phil Healy and Thomas Barr that we've seen earlier. Had the privilege of seeing the Irish team up close at the European Team Championships as they battled to obviously stay in that division, because if you don't, then you get relegated down to the league below. The Irish team rallied together on the final day to make sure they got every possible point. Young and old, and fabulous strength in depth. At the moment, Irish athletics in a better and better place, it seems, all the time. Kieran McGeehan, obviously a great established middle distance runner, but also Nadia Power getting a medal at the European Under-23s, along with Eilish Flanagan. In the steeplechase, I seem to remember. Holtonen once again, this time can't quite make it over at the third attempt at 5:60. Was going for a lifetime best. delight for Kieran McGeehan, being interviewed there by David Gillick, former Orange international himself. This looks to be David Smith. We'll just clear that in a moment in the high jump. So full result then in the women's 3,000 metres. That new lifetime best. Of course, it was a stadium record as well here in Athlone for McGeehan. As we go to the pole vault with a bar at 5.60 now, third attempt. Switching to the high jump, and Thomas Carmoy again, the Belgian. That was his third attempt at 2.23, so he's out of the competition. Attempting an indoor PB though, as I mentioned earlier. So always a promising sign to be attempting a lifetime best height earlier in the season. This is Carlos Rojas, the Spaniard. Just the 60-metre finals and then the men's mile to come this evening as we look at the high jump here. Third attempt again for Rojas this time at 2.23. 24-year-old Spaniard, another attempting a lifetime best. Last month, in fact, 2.22 it was he managed in Antequera. So some great starts to the year already. Here is the lineup for the men's 60 metres then. So some heats that we've already seen earlier on. A rather curious case where the 60 metres was effectively rerun with the heat involving Theo Etienne and Ogier de Buren. With Etienne initially crossing the line first, but he has made it into this 60-metre final and has another chance of a run out. So we start on the inside here with Jeremy Phillips, 6.80 lifetime best set in Boston 2 years ago. Theo Etienne, European indoor finalist in 2017. This is his best start to the season since then, with a PB of 6.56 from that great breakthrough year in 2017. Andy Robertson, fabulous 60 performer, who was also involved in that European indoor final. Jan Valeba alongside him, impressive earlier on, 5 times a competitor at the European Outdoor Championships. Ogier de Buren, the reigning British outdoor champion. And Ysaldes Nascimento, 33-year-old Portuguese athletes who represented at Athens in 2004. Sergio Lopez alongside him, Carl Descafé in his Birchfield Harriers black vest in lane 8. Well, Valeba and de Buren looked good early on. Wonder what Theo Etienne can do also from lane 2. Descafé just going through his last-minute pre-race routine, perhaps imagining how this race will pan out. Who's to say? Phillips, Etienne, Robertson, Valeba, de Buren, Nascimento, Lopez and Descafé nearest the camera. Pretty even getaway, but Valeba now driving hard, as is Andy Robertson. What a showing this is from him as de Buren finishes late. 6.64 from Andy Robertson though. What a start to the season from the Sale Harrier. Well, Andy Robertson, 6:62 to win in Vienna this month. He's followed that up nicely. Only CJ Uja and Richard Kilty have gone faster in 2020 out of British athletes. Andy Robertson will be delighted with that, though, to beat Oji Edeburen and Theo Etienne as well. Another 60-metre specialist, you might say. Jan Veleba, also a very experienced competitor who was terrific earlier on, darting his way through the opening 30 metres. At this point, though, Robertson holds his form really well as Edeburen emerges. So back to the pole vault with Lilliefors. First attempt at 5:70. Well, of course, Mondo Duplantis, the Swede, setting the world record of 6 metres and 17 just a matter of days ago. But Paul Lilliefors is another impressive talent. More on that in a moment. Delighted Andy Robertson winning that 60 metres, and he's always in contention, often gets a rocket-like start out of the blocks, but on this occasion holding his form really well to beat Edeburen. And Veleba, another of those heat winners, a little earlier this evening. Well, that leaves us with a very exciting women's 60-metre final, and then a world record attempt with Samuel Tefera in the men's mile, scheduled to get underway in 15 minutes' time. But the whole quartet, who hold the 4x1 record in the women's relay for Ireland, are all here. I was talking about Paul Lilliefors, and as he's in picture, go back to doing that. He's 18 years of age, 5:65 at best, but going to try and beat that here in Athlone. Can't quite do it. Yeah, well, it's unbelievable to say someone might be a sort of mini Mondo or sort of in that shadow, but in Gothenburg last year saw Mondo Duplantis clear 5:90 in front of a home crowd, and Lilliefors was sort of matching him for blow initially. And another impressive young Nordic pole vaulter. And I tell you what, Lilliefors has a 100-metre PB of 10:55 at 18 years of age for a pole vaulter. I know people do often underestimate the foot speed of field eventers, javelin throwers particularly. We tend to know about the speed of long jumpers. I think in his late teens, around that age, Greg Rutherford was running around 10.3, 10.4. But pretty handy. Of course, shot putters as well. Fantastic drive they have, particularly over the first 10 to 20 metres. As well as the brilliant core strength and agility and quick foot speed in the circle. But Lilliefors is quick down this runway. 2019 European under-20 champion. So just waiting before he goes for this next attempt at 5 meters and 70. But going for a lifetime best. 5:65 cleared earlier this month in Rud. So I hope you can stay with us for the conclusion of this Athlone International Grand Prix. Some brilliant action so far. 200-metre Irish indoor record for Phil Healy, breaking one that had stood for 17 years. Big personal best in the 3,000 metres for Kieran McGeehan after a tough test against Great Britain's steeplechaser Rosie Clark. Lillefoss just waiting for the opportune moment. Try to G himself up. Just 18 years of age with that new 5:65 best. You can see there the bar at 5:70. So the women's 60-metre final is scheduled to get underway in just under 2 minutes' time, and the athletes just waiting on the start line. We'll get in touch on social media, #AIT Grand Prix, and let us know your favourite moment from this evening. Anne-Marie Guinan says electric atmosphere with Kieran McGeehan. She's watching trackside in the stadium. That time 8:48.28 for McGeehan. Lots of congratulations for Phil Healy. And John Mulkeen on Twitter saying it's an outright lifetime best there. The fastest by an Irish woman for more than a decade, and moves her up 1 place on the Irish all-time list to 3rd. So here comes Paul Lillefoss at 5:70. This is his 3rd attempt, in fact. Here comes Lillefoss, unfortunately taking the bar out, kung fu style with his feet, but more to come from Paul Hagen Lillefoss. So bending over in this 60-metre final. The Czech athlete, impressive over 200 as well. Fantastic starter is Molly Scott. Asher Phillip alongside her as well. 29-year-old Olympic, World, European and Commonwealth medalist Sarah Quinn, a great hurdler, the 21-year-old. Rasidat Adeleke beat some of her strong Irish teammates, including Patience Jumbo Gula earlier on, who didn't qualify for this final. Joan Healy won her heat earlier on. Ciara Neville, and Gina Akpe-Moses, the 2017 European Under-20 champion in Grosseto. So staring back at these athletes ahead of the women's 60-metre final now. Bendover, Scott, Phillip, Quinn, Adeleke, Healy, Neville and Akpe-Moses. So 3 of the athletes who won World Under-20 silver in Tampere in 2018. Such is the strength and depth of Irish sprinting talent. And did look like a bit of early movement. Was that Ciara Neville there? We'll wait and see. So much anticipation, such a good battle between these women, with the lifetime best so close, and perhaps Irish women hoping that having the strength of Asher Phillip in this field could push them to a great time. Ciara Neville waiting there. We did see a flash of a yellow card. Let's hope that is the case. It was the movement from Neville that's noticeable to the eye. So we're seeing a close-up of Neville there, but in the background is the official showing her the yellow card, and a sigh of relief from Ciara Neville, the Irish under-23 national record holder, 11:33, her 100-metre best. Not too far behind Phil Healy. There is Joan Healy. So 3 of the 4 who won that silver medal at the World Under-20 Championships in the 4x1 relay. But Joan Healy, Ciara Neville and Gina Akpe-Moses are the Irish 4x100-metre senior national record holders, with Phil Healy, who's already impressed tonight. What a lineup then. Bendover, Scott, Phillip, Quinn Adeleke, Healy, Neville and Akpe-Moses. Fantastic start by Molly Scott. Now Asher Phillip beginning to chase her and really beginning to pull away. Neville was close for second place in an almighty scrap. 7.24 is showing on the clock. Good victory for Asher Phillip. A season opener tonight. Already the win earlier on, as perhaps you'd expect from the experience, the talent of Asher Phillip, who seems to impress with just how many tournaments she takes part in, particularly 2018 Commonwealth Games, World Indoors and Europeans. Sigh of relief from Ciara Neville, who came through well towards the end of that race. Interesting to see who is the best of the Irish women, but a clear victory there for Asher Phillip. .729 was her time in the heat, by the way. 10th faster than the second heat that was won by Joan Healy. But another decent 60-metre final, and we look forward to seeing the full result of that race. But here is Asher Phillip.
And the year ahead, looking forward to it. Great to see you. Best wishes.
Asher Phillip there speaking to David Gillick, and a fairly comfortable win for her in the end. In an event I hope you've enjoyed watching this evening, one that's grown over the years, and one that seems to bring plenty of excitement from an enthusiastic, knowledgeable crowd as well. And start list and timetable available at live.athleticsisland.ie, the hashtag on social media, AIT Grand Prix. Aidan Curran saying great to see such a strong Irish field, and even without the national record holder Phil Healy, as we said, it really does seem to be great times for Irish sprinting, and struggling to even express just how many were in that field who've achieved great things already, and you can only push them on at events like this and the Irish National Championships as well. Ciara Neville is 20, Molly Scott as well, so too Gina Akpe-Moses, Patience Jumbagula is 18, Sarah Quinn, 21, who's a great hurdler, made the European Under-23 semi-finals. In fact, one of 3 Irish athletes to do so. And perhaps one of them, maybe this year, maybe another, will take that national record 7:27 over 60 metres held by Amy Foster. Still waiting for full confirmation of that result. The time looked to be 7:24 for Asher Phillip trackside. And that leaves us with just the men's mile to come here tonight. Kieran McGeehan with the lifetime best in the 3,000 metres, saying that the cheer of the Irish crowd powered her home in that last 200 metres, that last lap when she held off Rosie Clark and found that extra burst of speed. It was impressive how Andy Robertson held off the likes of Oji Edeburen, the British 100-metre champion, to win over 60. And a lot of season's best times, as you expect, but those national records, including Phil Healy in the 200 metres, something that's been held since 2003. Ciara Sheehy, who represented Ireland at Sydney in 2000, and Phil Healy could truly emulate that if she then goes on to represent her country in Tokyo. But some great scraps here tonight. That 600 metres was a fascinating race with the likes of Guy Learmonth and Martin Rooney lining up. Had some good battles between them before, but it was Mateusz Borkowski, the tall Polish athlete, who won in the end. The final action of the evening, it's the men's mile, and Samuel Tefera, who set the world indoor 1500 metre record in Birmingham last year, privileged to be there for that, and well, Samuel blew us away on that occasion. Interesting to see who his closest competition will be. We've got Zach Curran, if any, of course. So Zach Curran returning here to pacemake following that 600 metres. He's had a good rest though, just over an hour. Samuel Tefera looking pretty determined. Tiago Andre, the Brazilian, competed at the Olympics and World Championships for his country, the Ibero-American champion in 2018 and a finalist at London 2017. Darren McElhinney, 19-year-old, another who got a medal at the European Under-20 Championships in Borås near Gothenburg in Sweden last summer. Hamish Carson, the New Zealander, wearing number 7 with the long hair there. Another Olympian, opened up his season in France and then competed in Luxembourg. 3:57.76 indoors for him. So the men's mile now gets underway, and that world indoor record held by Yomif Kejelcha, set in Boston last year. Kejelcha, the world indoor champion. 3:47.01. Tefera, as expected, has a lead, albeit behind the pacemakers. So we're looking for the crowd to give that same support that they gave to Phil Healy and Ciara McGeehan. No what's at stake here. Gemechu Dida, another talented young Ethiopian. Well, no lifetime best, I believe, but 7:42 for 3,000 metres is the time I have. So interesting to see how he fares here, as he tries to make sure that the gap isn't expanding all the time at the rate of knots it was so early on for Tefera. So Zach Curran in that 600 metres, leading it at one stage a little earlier on, doing an important job here. So they come through with 5 laps to go and just kicking on a little bit now, well back in second place. But this is all about Tefera against the clock here. The 1500 metre world record holder, 3 minutes 31.04. 3:49.45 incidentally is his PB in the mile. So Curran off the track, just one pacemaker now as they come through, 4 laps to go and 2 minutes on the clock. So down the back straight, just look at how cool Tefera looks here, almost wanting to push on, get the pacemaker to go even faster here. Adam Czerwinski, the Polish athlete, doing the work. So less than 3 laps to go now. Coming down this back straight. 2:40 on the clock. And now 2.5 laps to go. Tefera takes on the job himself. Czerwinski is off and Tefera in search of another world record. 2.5 second lifetime best he's looking for, and looking for a response from the crowd as well. Can he maintain this pace? Just looking as though he's tiring a little bit. Fay in the background is now beginning to challenge Brian Fay, the Irishman. The crowd absolutely loving this. So 3:26 at the belt from Tefera, who can't quite maintain the electric pace just when he was pushing on, and everyone, including the staff inside the stadium, really pushing on Brian Fay now. Behind Tefera, the 20-year-old world mile record holder, 3:50 on the clock as he comes into the home straight. Tefera with a fast finish, 3:55.9 for him. And Brian Fay comes in second place. And Gemechu Dida following at the end there. Well, Tefera so keen to push on, it looked like, behind Czerwinski, but eventually when it came down to it, just didn't have the speed in his legs today. 3:55.9 the time. Well, we were geared up for a strong end to the night. In the end, it was pretty exciting as Brian Fay, the Irishman, was chasing down the young Tefera. And one more autograph, or perhaps several more. Who's going to get it? Write less than 100 words on the back of the postcard to the Ethiopian Federation to be in with a chance, perhaps. Well, Samuel Tefera last year in Birmingham, when he set that 1500 metre indoor record, really took things by storm, and the world's press were gathering around, trying to get his attention and reaction, and I think a slightly shocked Tefera himself, tried to get a few words out. But a fabulous competition tonight, and it's great to see that this event is growing, and something we often mention at the Highgate night of the 10,000 metre PBs, when the track has really close attention of the crowd, who've really got their elbows all around the edges of it. What a difference it can make when spectators have such a prominent position. But Brian Fay, the Irish hero, yes.